welcome to the Golden Hour. I'm Golden Duffy, your host, and this is also the Manifest Live Life Golden YouTube and podcast show, and this is going to be a great show. We're talking about negative beliefs today and how they are your brick wall to your dreams. I've had some experiences lately and some realizations lately, so that's what prompted me to want to do this show, but I always feel like a show on belief systems will always be helpful. Even if you've heard, even if you know, even if you think you know, all of your belief systems and the ones that, you need to work on to get rid of, this show is going to be your dynamite to really moving past those limiting beliefs and negative beliefs, and also realizing how these negative beliefs are actually serving you. I really and truly believe that this life is about letting go of so many of the things that hold us back, letting go of so many things that bring us down. And negative beliefs are always going to tune us into a lower vibrational field. And when we're in a lower vibrational field, we often can't see. We can't see the beauty. We can't see what we're grateful for. We can't see the amazing people in front of us. And I'm always really interested in how when you witness things that are going on in the world, or you witness things that are happening in other people's lives, how it reminds me to be grateful, because it's so easy for us to take for granted our health or the people that are in front of us or our children or any of that. And in any moment, that can change. And it's not to make you fearful to say, oh, I should be scared that something bad's going to happen. So I should behave and I should be good and I should have good belief systems. That's not what this is about. This today is about unpacking what your negative belief systems are that are creating that brick wall. What are the bricks? Where is the mortar? Where is that centralized belief system that is causing you to have the doubts, to have the feelings that you're not good enough, to have the unworthiness or the powerlessness? What are those beliefs? So we're going to unpack that. And as we unpack that, you're going to have realizations. And those realizations are the dynamite. So I've got kind of a little blueprint for you to follow as far as where your beliefs are and understanding the foundations of beliefs and why we have them, why we keep them, why they were created in the first place. And knowing this stuff, I feel like it's just so much more helpful when we're moving through life and we're navigating these different situations and coming up against, right, that brick wall, coming up against these belief systems and saying, what am I really worthy of? What am I here for? What is my purpose in this experience so that I can become more? All right. Okay. So this is your dynamite. So recently, and I always love to, blame the planets. I've told you guys this before, but I went through such a density this weekend. It was so dense and so real and so and I was doing everything to try to get out of it. And I know now that we're not necessarily supposed to fight this stuff. That my belief is that we are an expression of God's source, whatever you like to call it. So if we're an expression of universal energy, of infinite intelligence, and infinite intelligence wants to experience things through us, that's not just the positive. It's not just the good stuff. It wants to experience everything through us. So as we come up against negative belief systems or times when our moods are really low, and who knows why, right? Could be hormones, could be planetary, could be circumstances in our lives, could be just picking up on a low vibrational loop, could be a habit, could be something that needs to be cleared or healed. There's a lot of different reasons why we find ourselves in a low system. When you find yourself in a low system, you're not necessarily, this is what came to me, we are not necessarily meant to fight it. We're not necessarily meant to try to, grasp our way out of it. And I know because I'm one of these people that as soon as I start to look down that rabbit hole, I'm going to find everything in my power to not step into it, because I know once I'm in it, it's a little bit harder to get out. But the realizations that came to me this weekend were, it's okay. It's okay to be down. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be in your lower emotional fields. You have a range of emotions for a reason. And if you don't allow, right, if you're always in this state of distracting yourself, trying to make yourself feel better, addictions, retail therapy, the whole thing. If you're always doing that and you're not acknowledging or spending any time processing these lower emotions, they're always going to be underneath. They're always going to be vibrating underneath. So I took some time this weekend to really be gentle with myself and just to really let myself do whatever I wanted. I pet my cat a lot. I let her sit on my lap. I meditated a lot. I think I meditated like 3 times on Saturday. I went for a long walk in nature. In fact, I ran. I went for a little jog because I always feel like when I move energy like that, I get a little uptick in my in the chemicals and hormones that download. So that always makes me feel better. But no matter what I did on Saturday, I was just in a state. Same with Friday and Saturday. I was just in a state and I let myself be there and I didn't fight it. As much as I went and did things, that's my personality, is to get up and do things. It was just where I was at. And I just let myself do what I felt like doing. And by the end of the afternoon, I ended up going and getting my nails done. Hello, self-care. And when I went and got my nails done, I love my nail lady. She's really, really sweet, really kind, very loving to me, always thankful. And after I got my nails done, I came home and I was getting ready to make dinner. And I just had this overwhelming sense of gratitude. And that gratitude, and it was so interesting because I could feel the energy start to lift. I could feel it lift off of me. And I don't know if it was a product of me doing all these different things to kind of gradually bring myself up. I was trying to track the negative belief system. Like I was trying to get to the bottom of it, right? Like, why am I here and why is this happening and what's going on? But I couldn't even put a finger on it. There wasn't even anything that I could track as far as I just felt low energy. I just felt low vibes. So what came to me is that we are often processing, and when we process these lower fields of energy that are all around us, right? There's a field of energy all around us. There's planetary energy. There's the eclipse energy right now, which is going to stir a lot of things up for us because we are here for expansion and growth. And as we expand and grow, we're going to experience the lower fields of energy to learn how to navigate and to release ourselves from these energies. And as we are in these lower energies, we create a greater capacity for joy. We create it. It's like it spun me out, I was down, but then it spun me out into a different place. Where on Sunday, a lot of times on Sundays, I will get a little bit wiggy if we stay home all day because I'm home all week. So on Sunday, I want to go out and I want to do things and I want to have fun. The weather was not great. That was another factor. It's been super rainy here. So it was rainy, and I live by the planet of the sun. I really do. I love the sunshine. There is no doubt. My daughter and I were talking the other day. There's no doubt that it is much easier to feel good when the sun is shining. It's just a fact of nature. It's just the way it is. As much as I can navigate the rain and stuff, when it starts to get a lot, it definitely has an effect on me. And it's not one that I can just be like, oh, I can't, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be negative. I'm not going to, it's not even like a belief system. It's just a feeling. And I want you to understand the feeling, the energy that you're feeling is not always driven by thoughts. It's not my belief that the rain makes me depressed that actually puts me in a low field of energy. It's the feeling of the pressure of the clouds. It's the feeling of that pressure and that lack of sunshine that brings me into a lower field of energy. So it's not necessarily connected to a belief system when you're not feeling good. Sometimes you're just processing. Sometimes you're just navigating. Sometimes you just need to allow yourself to be. We are constantly moving, right? We are constantly moving and doing, and people are asking of us, and it can be exhaustive energy just to be in this life experience. So sometimes your body and your spirit and your mind is just like, I need a break. I need a rest. And it would be awesome if we could do that in joy. But the thing is, when we're feeling really high and when we're feeling really joyful, that's when we're motivated. That's when we want to do things and go places and meet people, right? So when it comes to these lower fields of energies, look and see if there's a belief in there that you are creating a loop with. My old habits used to be doubt, and I'm not doing anything with my life. And that definitely came up this weekend. And part of the reason is I've kind of let everything go because I'm in this kind of space. I think I talked about last week about being in the gap of your tribe, but being in the gap even of creating, where I work on inspiration. So if there's nothing really inspired happening, then I just need to navigate life and just be present and take each moment as it comes and recognize the preciousness of that without feeling like I have to accomplish something or do something or be something. So that's a new stage for me. I don't know if you're there yet, but it's like an ego death. It's really interesting. I'm actually getting ready to launch my next book, and my girls are taking a look at it. So it's taking a little bit longer. And that could be part of my like impatience and feeling like, okay, I got to be something in the world. And that's such a trap. It's such a freaking trap. And it's a huge trap right now because of social media, because of the internet, because of YouTube, because of celebrities, because of popularity when we were younger. It's a huge trap to need that outside influence, that outside appreciation, that outside validation to actually feel like you are productive or feel like you're doing something in the world. You are doing something in the world just by getting out of bed every day, just by saying yes to this relentless life. You are doing something in the world. So let yourself off the hook a little bit, because if you're beating yourself up every day, one of the things that I've really worked on with people and I've seen a lot is when you have a dream in your heart. I'll use writing for an example because I remember very distinctly my my issues with writing, and now being on my fourth book, getting my fourth book published. In the beginning, when I was working on that first book, I had 2 books in my computer. I still have like 3 other books on my computer because I'll get an inspiration, I'll start working on it, and then I'll get another inspiration, I'll start working on it. Sounds like ADHD, right? When I first started, I was terrified. Read the book or listen to the book by Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art, and you will understand the war on your creativity and how your creativity is under attack because your fear of being seen, or your fear of being vulnerable, your fear of putting yourself out there, your fear of people arguing with you or telling you you're wrong or being wrong in general, right? That comes from like raising your hand in class and having the wrong answer. That's where that comes from. Or getting something wrong at work, being embarrassed. It's that whole embarrassment energy, and that whole being vulnerable is really challenging for us. It's really challenging for us to put our stuff out there and go, is the world going to love this? Is the world going to accept this? Does the world love me? And when you attach that, when you have that much attachment to something you're doing and something you're putting out in the world, it can be very challenging to get that done. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to about starting podcasts and YouTube channels, and I will walk them through the whole process, and then it never happens. And I always say the hardest thing about doing a podcast or YouTube is just doing it. It's just getting the show recorded and putting it out there. I remember the first time I did that, I was so fearful, and like, it's just a scary thing. It's a fear of being seen. And a lot of it has to do with past life stuff. And there's like a whole thing that you can like research on what the fear of being seen is. But for the most part, it's about the fear of people like really seeing you for who you are, and then potentially having embarrassment or being wrong. And I'm going to say the greatest thing you can do right now is be real. Just be real. I don't think there's enough people being real. I think there's a bunch of fake stuff out there, and a lot of people trying to look good, and they're hurting inside, and they're not really showing us the real the reality of who they really are. And I think that authenticity, that rawness, that realness is what we need more in the world, because that's what connects us, right? That human connection, that relationship connection where it's like, oh, I resonate with you. I resonate with what you're saying. I applaud you for sharing your mistakes or your problems or your depression or your sadness and being able to talk about it openly. I am a very positive person. If you ever see me anywhere, I'm like light. I feel light most of the time. And I like to make people laugh, and I like to engage with people, and I like to be social. So to share that I have these moments where I'm down or in doubt or not feeling good enough is a very vulnerable position, but I know that it's one that's important to share. Now, if you do have belief systems that are connected to this, if you get into a web, I'm thinking of it like a web, because it literally feels like there's something over you. It just feels like, I can't even explain it. I felt the energy lift from me the other day. And this is when you start to get good at feeling energy and reading energy. And when I felt the energy lift, I was like, wow, what the heck was that? And I still don't really have an answer for what that was. I do believe I'm really susceptible to planetary and eclipse energy, and that's a belief, right? Sounds good to me. Don't need to take personal responsibility there, right? But the importance that I have on the planetary energy is understanding that we do have the ability to clear it and to upgrade with it. And I do believe that that was part of what was going on. These upgrades are happening all the time. We are always expanding and growing. And as we allow ourselves to navigate the scope of our emotional field, we're going to come back into our expansion and growth a little easier, a little cleaner, a little less beating ourselves up, right? Okay. All right. So what you resist persists. So when you're caught in this cycle of dissatisfaction, if you are resisting it and you're like, oh no, I'm happy, I'm distracting myself, I'm good, I'm going to go shopping, I'm going to drink alcohol, I'm going to watch a funny show, I'm going to go to the movies, I'm going to go out with my friends, and I'm fine. Remember Seinfeld's Serenity Now? If you're not really feeling that and you're not processing your emotions, you could get yourself really in a bigger depression, because what you resist persists. And that's why I say just kind of letting yourself feel it, letting yourself acknowledge it, not making yourself wrong for it. It would be really easy for me to make myself wrong for it because I'm not used to being that way. I mean, I have had moments in my life, but it's not my normal state. It's not my normal mood. Every day I, share these processes and how to be in gratitude and how to live a healthier and productive and more exciting life. And then I have these moments and I'm like, do I even have any of this figured out? Yes, I do. All right. So as you work hard to feel better, you may miss the point of what this temporary state is calling you to. Now, this temporary state may be calling you to clear something, right? It's really good to journal. It's really good to journal and to really write down the clarity that is coming through these lower emotions. It might be asking you to change habits. If you're waking up every day and you're not feeling good because of what you're doing in the evening, like if you're drinking or smoking or doing some kind of drugs or spending too much money or whatever it is that's filling these voids, spending too much time on social media, good Lord, the scrolling. My daughter and I were just saying oh my God, I've been caught in scroll. Can't stand when I'm caught in scroll. What is the point of the scroll, right? If you find yourself in those moments, ask yourself, is what I'm doing, are the habits that I'm holding every single day, whether it's eating unhealthy foods or drinking alcohol or watching crappy TV, are those habits further facilitating this lower vibrational field? Watching dramatic stuff is going to lower your field. Watching the news is going to lower your field. Worrying about what's going on out there that we don't really have any fact about is going to lower your mood. And what have you been doing? Okay. Is it calling you to new desires to change things up for yourself? So sometimes it's got to get really bad before we make changes, right? So when you get to that, like they call it rock bottom, when you get to that rock bottom. And I felt like Friday night had a little dramatic situation with my husband because I was so low, and he often knows what to say to get me out of it, but it's not super positive. So then waking up on Saturday, he had already left for work. And I'm like, wow, the worse it gets, the worse it gets. Right now I'm not getting along with my husband, and that just feels awful. And, and we actually had a moment. This was so funny. So after I got my nails done, so I spend the whole day like in this yucky place, and we had texted a little bit. We always text on 11:11, I love you. And so he texted me that, and I texted him back. So I knew everything was okay. Of course it's okay. But I'm just, kind of feeling low, and I got my nails done. I feel a little bit better. And then this was the moment that I tracked that shifted everything. I was driving home from the nail place, and I was right behind his truck, but I was like on the side at a stoplight. So we're like a mile from home at a stoplight, and this Prius is in front of me, and I'm like, move, Prius, move, so I can like move up. And he knew I was right behind him because we have the Life 360 app, and he had just looked to see where I was. So he knew. So when I pulled up my car to like wave, thinking I was going to surprise him, he was already waving and smiling. And that just shifted everything. Like that moment of connection, that moment of coming back together, that moment of him looking at me and me remembering who I was. Actually, that was what created the momentum to get me out of it, because the better it gets, the better it gets, the worse it gets, the worse it gets. That is law of attraction in action. It's momentum. So the more you focus on the bad, the ugly, the I'm not good enough, the more the universe is going to give you that reflection. And I have a little tool there that I'm going to teach you. Okay. All right. So let's see. Helping you to get clear on what you've been tolerating, that rock bottom stuff. Okay, so don't fight it or feel wrong for it. Understand it's a huge part of your expansion and growth. All of this is. The whole emotional field is here for your expansion and growth. All right, so what are the bricks that make up the negative belief wall? Okay, so we've got this wall, this brick wall, okay? And the brick wall is keeping you from all of your dreams. It's keeping you from writing that book. It's keeping you from starting that podcast. It's keeping you from selling everything you own and moving across the country. That brick wall for us before we moved was, I guess it was probably money, which is funny because we kind of shattered that. We blew that brick wall apart by making a strong decision and an intention for how much money we needed to save to leave. And we did it. So we proved that we could save money when we never could save money before. I mean, we had money before because we had a lot of money coming in, but as far as like actually saving money up and having money to speak for, like savings, was amazing. That felt like a miracle, but it was intention. It was strong determination and intention that created all these miracles that just kept money coming in. Like every day money was coming in. We were selling things. My husband was getting big jobs, like crazy, amazing, miraculous things were happening because we set the intention for the money. So is that the brick wall? I don't know why this came up, but when I was writing my notes for the show, I've talked to a lot of people, and they'll be like, yeah, we want to move, but we have to wait until the kids get out of high school. And it's like 5-6 years or whatever. And I'm just like, really? Like, you're going to wait for that? Like, how about you just move? And I know it's hard on the kids. Believe me, it was challenging for my kids. There's no doubt about it. When we moved, they were 7th and 9th grade. Hardest things they ever went through, but they are who they are today because they lived through that, because they powered through that, because they made new friends, because they moved to a place that they had never been before. They don't cheat your kids of experiences because you don't want to rock their boat. I get it. If your kids love where they live, that's a challenge. It's a challenge. I get that. But if something is calling you, I feel like the limitations, the interesting thing about our kids was when we told them that we wanted to move, we were super excited about it. First of all, it was February. super cold out. And we told them we were moving someplace where it was like 70, 80 degrees all the time. And in that moment, when we told them, our beliefs and our excitement were so big that they reflected that to us, and they got really excited too. So we didn't really see from that moment that they were going to be sad leaving their friends. We didn't really get that. And interestingly, they both have kind of kept some friends from back home. So it's all about your belief and what you believe is going to be good for your family and good for your kids, and not limiting yourself. So what are your limitations? What is that mortar between the bricks? Those are the belief systems that are creating, oh, I can't do this. What are your can'ts? I can't do this because of this, and I have to wait for this. And can't we live life now? Can't we live life now? I have a really wonderful friend who I talked to like many months ago, and she was telling me how she really felt like she had to stay where she was. She was in love with a guy who lived in a different state, and they were doing this long distance relationship thing, and it was really hard, and she really wanted to be with him, but she said she couldn't because her mom was elderly and she had to check on her mom, and that wasn't a great situation for her. Like, her mom and her didn't have the best relationship, and she was feeling like she wasn't even really being accepted when she would visit her mom, and like weird stuff like that. And I was like, why would you let that limit your experience? Why don't you just think about it this way? Like, what if you could? What if you could? And what if all these things, like, what if you just let that go, and then something else lined up to help you with your mom while you go and, live the life that you deserve and you dream of? And she did it. She's moving there. And I think that's so freaking fantastic when people do that. And oftentimes, like, when I talked to her, it was like a millimeter shift of why can't you? So sometimes that's what gets rid of the mortar between the bricks. That's the dynamite that blasts the wall away from your negative belief systems is, what if I could? How can I? What if we did? What if we booked plane tickets? That was the dynamite that blew our whole situation apart. What if we just book plane tickets? What if we like put this energy out into the universe and we said, we're going for this? Man, you cannot even imagine what universal things will line up for you when you do stuff like that. It is fantastic. Okay, so the negative belief systems, there's a whole brick wall situation when it comes to negative belief systems. So you have things like justification, rationalization, projection, paranoia, rejection. I said rejection. Projection. Okay. So when it comes to your belief systems, you have all these things wrapped around it that solidify and keep those belief systems alive. And what keeps those belief systems alive is your fear of survival. So by rationalizing, you're rationalizing because your belief is, if I let go of this belief, then I'm going to die. Literally, you feel like you're going to die because you're letting go of an identity and you're becoming someone new. This happens in relationships when you're ready to let go of a relationship and you're like, who am I without this person? Or a big career, when you finally realize, I'm not happy in my career. This actually happened to me when we let go of network marketing. When we started network marketing, we were going through a really hard time financially. And so I kind of jumped into this business and I started doing it like full time. Like, I was doing 6 or 7 meetings a day. I was constantly networking. We were doing meetings at night. Like, it took over my life. It took over my identity. I was speaking. I was kind of high profile. People knew who I was. And my greatest fear was, it started to lose for me. It started to lose its like excitement for me. I was getting frustrated. It wasn't working anymore. We would bring people on board and they would do nothing. And I looked over it and I was like, okay, the last 10 people that I signed up did nothing. So what am I doing? Like, the energy field will tell you when you're done with things, but letting go of it was a whole other thing, because it was my identity. I'm like, who am I if I don't do this? And my husband was like, are you kidding me? And I do think that that is a repercussion, or a, let's see, I think that it's something that happens, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom for a long time, when you start to identify with a new career or something new. I guess this probably happens to anybody who's been in a career for a long time, who's identified with being something, right? And then all of a sudden that thing doesn't work for you anymore. And you're like, well, who am I now? It's freaking scary. It's so scary to let that identity go and become someone new. So that's the mortar between your bricks. It's the identity of who you are right now and who you are interested in becoming. It's that the dynamite that's going to blow that out is like, I'm worth more than this. I'm going to find out who I am. I'm not afraid to figure this out. I'm going to follow my bliss. I'm going to follow my passions, and I'm going to let this thing go that is no longer serving me, because I know the longer that I hold on to this, the worse it's going to get, the worse I'm going to feel. And in fact, one of the most pivotal days that I had, I was actually asked to speak for the company, which had never happened before as far as this particular seminar workshop that they did. They usually had people who had been in the business for a lot longer than I would do these seminar workshops. And the number one money earner called me. He was a good friend of mine. He's still a good friend of ours. And he said, I want you to do this seminar with me. And I was like, and here I am. I'm like 1 foot out. I ended up with one of the worst migraines of my life, where I was literally had, the eye stuff, like the visuals, and I was nauseous and I was so sick. And I ended up having this like really intense discussion with my husband and this emotional breakdown, because I just couldn't do it anymore. It just wasn't who I was anymore. So, sometimes our physical bodies will be like, hell no, you're not doing this anymore. And you'll end up getting sick if you hold on to these things that no longer represent who you are expanding and growing to become. But your belief systems are so strong that they're going to do these things. They're going to justify, they're going to rationalize, they're going to reject other belief systems that go against it. I mean, we definitely saw this in our world a few years ago with all the negativity and the illnesses and all the things that came out that made us question what our real true health was about. And you would talk to people and you'd go, how can they believe that? Because they're in line with a belief system. When you are aligned with a belief system, you will reject everything that doesn't have anything to do with it. So this is why you can't change people's belief systems. This is a cycle of negative synchronicity reinforcement. So you're negative, you're synchronizing with this negative reinforcement, which means you are in vibrational alignment with it. The way to get out of that is to understand the process, to understand what's happening, to look at these negative beliefs and go, okay, I'm in a loop right now. I'm in this negative belief system, and it's actually connecting with what is this for me, right? Where does these beliefs come from? Where did they begin? Do I still have to believe this? Do I want to believe this? Is this belief serving me? It's digging deep into these questions and asking yourself, do I want to dynamite this? Do I want to blow this wall apart because it's not serving me, because it's not where I want to be, and it's not how I want to live any longer? So it's getting in touch. Anytime you face something like these belief systems, these negative belief systems or fears, when you face them, they dissipate, because oftentimes you will track them and you will realize they're not true. They're not real. You don't have to live under them anymore. Okay. The element that allows you to step out of the new belief systems, the realization, the dynamite that you need to blow these walls apart, is this: expansion, growth, choice, positive beliefs that leads you to freedom and inspiration. So recognizing that all of this is calling you to your expansion and growth. How do I expand from this? How do I become more from this? Right? Instead of fighting it, instead of going, I shouldn't feel this way, I need to get out of this, There's something wrong with me. I need medication. I need to go to a doctor. This is too much. I can't handle this. Instead of doing that, it's saying, how can I use this to expand and grow? This is my choice. How can I choose differently in this moment? I can accept it. I can allow it. I can recognize that there is some good that's going to come out of this. My capacity for joy on Sunday was over the top. When I woke up Sunday, I was a different person. I didn't mind hanging out at the house. I was totally into just chilling and relaxing. My husband and I just really enjoyed each other, right? Anytime you have like a little miff with your loved one and you come back together, it's like even juicier, it's even better. You're like even more in appreciation of one another. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So getting to the root of those belief systems and understanding, oh, okay, this is part of what my expansion and growth is all about. It's navigating these systems. It's navigating these beliefs. It's questioning everything that's happening, and it's being okay with it. It's not resisting it. It's going, what can I learn from this? If you can do that in the face of all your traumas, all your challenges, all your experiences in life, and go, what is this about for me? What am I here to expand from? What am I here to grow from? You will transform that. You will transmute it. You will alchemize that energy to benefit you always. And you will come through it a lot faster. That's your dynamite. That's your dynamite. All right. You have to recognize and understand the trap of the negative belief systems to dismantle them. Once you do this, you can choose different. Once you do this, what you are saying, what is it that you are saying? What is it that you are saying that is keeping you from living your dreams? What is the mortar? I really want you to get clear about this. I got really clear the other day. I'm reading a book called Attracting Money, I think. And it really gets you clear about what your passions are and why you're doing what you're doing. And for a long time, I've been creating a business and I've been making money and coaching and doing all this stuff and really navigating like what makes me happy and when I feel done with things, and then writing books and creating programs and all of that. And I realized that my like most exciting thing that I do is I help people shift. And I help people. It's like I activate that light within them. It's like I turn the switch for them and I help them to remember who they are and what they came here to create. And when I can help people make those little shifts and I see it, I can see it in their face. I can see it I can feel it in their energy field. That's what gets me really excited. So more to come on that. I don't know where that's going to go, but I feel like I'm more clear about what I want to do more than I ever have been. I always thought, oh, I want to do workshops and I want to do seminars and I want to do retreats, and recently came to like the real clarity that I don't want to talk at people. I talk on this thing all the time, but I don't want to talk at people. I want to be with people. I want to be in connection. I want to be in resonance. I want to be in co-creation. And that is really telling to my energy field of what I'm going to create next. So get clear about that. What lights you up? What gets you excited? What really amplifies your field? And then start following that, because the universe has things in place for you. Your passion, your excitement, that's your dynamite. Your passion, your excitement, your when you jump out of bed in the morning, that's your life force. That's your fuel towards living new belief systems, towards living a life that feels better. All right. So what are the bricks that have created your wall? No matter what it is, you have the ability to grow and expand past it. No matter what it is, no matter what you grew up with, no matter what people told you about yourself, you have the ability to grow beyond this. You have the ability to expand and become more. It is your nature. It's our whole reason. It's our whole reason for being here. You have to acknowledge it. When you acknowledge it and look it in the face, you dissipate it. Yep, I went through that already. Okay. Am I ready to let this go? That's a really important question, because oftentimes these victimhood energies or these lower belief systems keep us safe, right? They keep us the same. They keep us from rocking the boat. They keep us from getting out of our comfort zones. So it's really easy for us to not want to let things go, right? It's really easy for us to do that. And so catching that and asking yourself, am I ready? And if you're not ready, guess what? You're not ready. And that's okay, because your expansion and growth will tell you when you're ready. You will know when you're ready. You will have had enough. You will have your own, you'll carry your own dynamite. It's really okay either way, because it's your journey. It's your own time. It's when you decide. You get to choose how long you stand up against that brick wall. You get to choose. And that's the beautiful thing about life. But just know this. If you've been standing in front of this brick wall for a long time and you've been in a lot of misery, like not feeling good about yourself, not feeling good about your life, really suffering, in quiet desperation every day, you're just suffering. The longer you stand up against that brick wall, the longer you are in your misery. The faster you decide to like demolition the wall, the faster things are going to get better for you. So you can stay there and you can stay the same and you can stay a little bit sad, but you don't have to. It's your choice. So it's up to you. Let's see. You get to choose the small changes or the leaps of faith. That is up to you as well. I knew when we were in Connecticut, I knew that I couldn't do it anymore. I knew it. And my husband knew it as well. Like, it was such a feeling in our hearts that it was too painful to stay, that going felt less painful than staying. And that was a boatload of fear that we had to walk through. Your growth and expansion are inevitable. And all of the impatience, your growth and expansion are inevitable. Law of transmutation of energy. Energy is always moving. You are always processing. I don't care how much you say you're stuck. I don't care how much you do the same things every day. You are always progressing. You are always moving. And sometimes when you stay stuck and you refuse to move and you refuse to expand and grow, that's when the universe comes in and a lot of times does damage control, we'll call it. It'll create scenarios for you to force you into your growth. So I personally would like to evolve a little more gently, although we did jump off a plane to get here. But that's the thing, is like, you can't account for the amazing stuff that you're going to gain. You only think about what you're going to lose by taking chances. So if you could actually kind of look ahead and really visualize and feel and understand what you're going to gain, oftentimes putting yourself in that energy field of gain will allow you to let go of the fears that keep you stuck in these cycles. So, you can stand in front of that brick wall for as long as you want. The unworthiness, the doubts, the misery, the impatience, the I'm not good enough, the nothing's happening for me, those beliefs, those low vibrational beliefs, are the mortar that keeps that brick wall intact. So putting yourself in the vibration of expectation. And I know you can't do this all the time. I mean, maybe you can. I'm not going to give you a limiting or negative belief, but I don't think that we're designed to do it all the time. Do you ever have people in your life and they're like super happy and really outgoing, but then they retreat, right? They call those like introverted extroverts or extroverted introverts. I don't know. They're all out there and they're all happy, but the truth is they're often distracting themselves from how they really feel inside. And then that can cause a lot of issues. That can cause a rabbit hole that's dark and deep and hard to get out of. So my suggestion, I can't believe I got through all those notes. My suggestion would be to get in touch with what these belief systems are. If you feel like you've got a brick wall of negative beliefs, if you feel like you've been holding yourself back from really living a life that serves you, that serves a greater purpose, that serves your dreams, that serves your fulfillment and what really matters to you. If you really, really feel that there's a brick wall, get in touch with the brick wall. Like, come up against it and ask yourself, is this really a brick wall, or is this just part of my readiness, part of my getting ready? It took us 4 years to leave Connecticut, which was the only home we had ever known. We both grew up 3 towns from where we lived, raised our family there. Never, ever, ever thought we would leave. Never thought we would leave. I remember people moving away and I would be like, why would you leave here? But it got to the point where vibrationally, we were not in alignment with anyone there. Our friendships had ended, our communities had ended, and we were really feeling like the energy was just so dense and we were so light. We were, meditating and oh my goodness, we were talking about our dreams and we were living in excitement and we were living in possibility, and nothing was a match. Nothing felt like a match. Wherever we went, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel like resonance anymore. And then when we came out to California, so that was years. I mean, years of talking about it and planning it and wishing and hoping, and even coming out to California to scout and see where we should live and see if we could make job connections and all of that. And that's not the way it went. That wasn't the way it was supposed to go. We needed to make a final decision about our readiness. And once we did, things fell into place. But it wasn't like the universe was like, okay, here's a job, now you can move. It's not usually like that. There's usually these big leaps of faith that need to happen, and these, this trust of moving forward, of doing something in faith, booking plane tickets, whatever it is, going and looking and scouting and feeling the energy of the new place that you want to live. Or if it's a new job, maybe it's applying for new jobs, maybe it's considering new jobs, maybe it's looking for a headhunter. It's putting yourself out there in a new and different way to experience something different. If you're feeling flat every single day, you're not living your best life. If you're feeling like the energy field is not ripe for you, like you're not like waking up every day and feeling like empowered and like confident and like really excited to live life. And it doesn't have to be like that all the time. But if there isn't a foundation of gratitude happening, there is work that needs to be done. Because if you can't reach gratitude, then what's the point? What's the point? If you can't reach gratitude, if you can't hold on to some sort of gratitude, then the vibrational energy that you're in is not going to bring you what you want. It's going to bring you more of what you don't want. So it's shifting that. What am I grateful for? What is great today? What good things can happen today? What good things can happen today? I had yesterday, oh my goodness, I was at the grocery store and I was feeling pretty good. The weather was really beautiful and I was feeling great yesterday. And I'm walking through the grocery store and I catch this baby's eye. He must have been like 6 months old. And we had a moment, we had a couple of moments, and he kept looking at me and his whole face lit up and he had these dimples. His mom never even saw what was happening. We just kept smiling at each other. And I was like, I have tears in my eyes just thinking about it because it was such a moment. It was such a precious moment in my life to be reflected to me, that baby love, that unconditional love. I feel like babies are the closest thing to angels, right? People who are close to death and people who are just born, I feel like they're the closest to angels. It was such a moment. So who knows what's going to happen today? If you're not living in that excitement, then what is the point? What is the point? You have to drive the energy. You have to decide. You've got to dynamite that brick wall or sit in front of it for longer. It's up to you. It really is. All right, I'm going to do a little exercise just because I have a few minutes where I did this. I think I did this last week where we bring in frequency. So I want to start doing more of this at the end of the show. So hopefully if you're not driving, if you are, do this later. But just close your eyes, sit up nice and straight. Yeah, you like your spine to be straight, just so you have this like really nice clear channel, this channel of energy. And just take a deep breath. And just release. Just let go of all the negative beliefs. Let go of all the mortar. Let go of all the doubts. Let go of all the unworthiness and the not feeling good enough. Yeah, just breathe it out. I can feel it. It's moving. It's mostly in your solar plexus, which is in your abdomen, which you may feel. And just release the connection or attachment you have to not being good enough. Release the attachment and connection you have to depressive energy. Release the detachment, the habit, or any energy that you have to low vibrational frequencies, which is dissatisfaction, powerlessness, complaining, all the energies that keep you from feeling joy. So the doubts, the worries, the fears, the regrets, the resentments, yeah, let it all go. None of that serves you anymore. Release the energies of feeling unlovable, lonely. Release the beliefs that you were meant to be alone, that no one loves you. Release all the energy of unforgiveness towards others and towards yourself. Good job. Release the energies of comparison or jealousy, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. Release the energies of addictions and habits that do not serve you. Beliefs that no longer need to be part of your energy field. And just imagine this brick wall in front of you. And now bringing in this new frequency, I just want you to see this brick wall. You can see it crumble. You can see it blow up. Whatever you need to see to let this brick wall go. So maybe grab a belief system that has created some bricks for you. And imagine that this light is coming in through the top of your head. It can be explosive. It can be more like just disintegrating the mortar. But just imagine this energy comes in. It's high vibrational. It's full of love. It's full of knowing. It's full of confidence. It's full of your dreams. It's full of your beliefs that you can live your dreams. The possibilities are endless. The miracles are in this energy. Universal co-creation is in this energy. Everything that you are, infinitely intelligent, an expression of wisdom, is in this energy. And just imagine, brick by brick, this wall begins to fall. And you are in a place now where you stand free. You are in the light and the love of all that is. And you are here to create in the best possible way your dreams, your fulfillment, the energy of what creates worlds. You are here to know the power that you have, to feel that powerfulness, to feel that worthiness, to live your dreams. Just spend a minute and just see yourself, visualize, feel, know in your heart that these dreams that you have in your mind are completely possible. They're not just possible, they're totally probable because you can see them. It means you can create them. And it means that you have everything you need to manifest them into your physical life. See yourself living your dreams and no longer standing against the wall. Well, that was fun. All right. So now it's up to you to work through anything that needs to be interrupted now, because now you have the tools, now you have the dynamite to explode these doubts, to explode these old fields of habits and loops and negative beliefs that don't serve you. There is no wall in your way. We've gotten rid of the wall. And if you need to listen to that again, we were at minute, I think 53. If you want to fast forward to the 53, it'll take you right to the meditation, or 52. And then you can listen to it again. Listen to it before you go to sleep. Listen to it whenever you're feeling those doubts. It will clear you out. the greatest thing we can do is raise our frequency. We raise our frequency by letting that energy go and by bringing in that higher vibrational frequency. That's what we just did. So focus on that when you meditate. Focus on bringing in the frequency, bringing in the energy, bringing in this light field that is so available to us when we focus on it and invite it in. All right, you guys, that's my show for today. If you have questions, you can find me on Facebook, Goldyn Duffy, or I do have a group on Facebook called Manifest to Live Life Goldyn, also on Instagram at Live Life Goldyn. But I love you all. I love that you're here. I love that you're listening, and I love that we get to create this life together. If you need help shifting, reach out to me. I'm not sure where this is going to go, but I'm a big fan of helping people just navigate and shift and to think about things differently, because that is how we create new experiences in the field. All right. Love y'all. Peace.